Welcome in, everybody. Jason Matheny back here in the mothership in Houston, Texas. A little warmer here than in South Dakota. Terry Cushman still in the swampland of the East. Terry, how much FOMO were you having over this last weekend with National 43 going on?
So it wasn't as bad as I thought. I didn't have the FOMO, you know, hitting me too hard, but a lot of people were rubbing it in, sending me selfies. Some of them may or may not have had their middle fingers up at me for not being there. But yeah, it was kind of fun to watch from afar, and some of you had some high spots, and some people had a quiet week, unfortunately. But yeah. So how was it for you?
It was fun. It was, the weather was warmer than I wanted it to be. It was like 80s there for most of the week. Cool off for the actual like weekend of Grand National. Had a really nice time. The cards I felt like were frustrating to me. I did the math of it, and I won 62% of my games, right? But I basically bubbled two of the three events, the main event and the con, right? So it was very streaky in the midweek. I started off 12-3, right? Thinking, oh man, I must be already in, right? 12-3 with the skunk. Then I proceed to lose 5 games in a row, and I start gripping. 2 games left. I'm sitting on 25, thinking I'm going to bomb out of this thing. Luckily, I do win the last two to get in and went 3 rounds in the playoffs. And then, in the main, had kind of the same thing happen. Just 27 with 3 to go, lose the last 3, don't get in. The consolation, I actually started off, and that's why I'm sporting what I'm now calling the consolation mustache. Where after the main on Saturday, before the consolation, I shaved down to the mustache, even wore my Ted Lasso shirt, which, now that's baseball off season for you. Maybe you'll start understanding more of those things going forward. Consolation started off 2-3, won the next 4, but no skunks. And I was told originally that I was high non-qualifier. Later, I found out that I guess Canadian Jordan was actually a high non-qualifier, but I had like a 12-6 plus 3, and I actually had somebody false claim against me, but I didn't take it. So that probably cost me getting in. I'm not fully sure. But that whole situation was it was a little frustrating. Like good game scores, but yeah, another weekend I might have qualified in all 3. Didn't happen this time though. So be it.
You got in one of them. So how far did you go in that bracket?
I went 3 rounds, had a bye, and then had a super tight match with Kevin Mansfield, former Grand National champion Kevin Mansfield. He won the first 2. Then I won the third one. The fourth one went right down to the wire, and I pulled kind of a pegging trick that seemed to work. He thinks he misplayed it. I'm not sure. We kind of talked about it. But then, so you get down to that like 5th game, and then I kind of just took that one down. I don't think it was like a full-on runaway or anything like that, but it was kind of clear by the end. And then lost in the 3rd round to Jim Clark. Doug Page won the midweek. Congrats, by the way, to the winners. Doug Page and Jerry Griffin won the collective mains. Doug Page, like 93 years old, took down the main or the midweek. So that's a heck of a week for him. Just another trophy to add to his rather robust resume there. Didn't even get to play him like all week. It's kind of funny. There are certain people you feel like you play like 3 and 4 times, and some people you feel like you hardly even see the entire weekend. It's just the way these things go.
I wonder who the oldest winner of a ACC tournament is.
That's I'm going to scribble that down right now. Like I feel like it's, if I'm going to set an over under on that, I would bet it's like 95.5, something like that. I bet somebody who is quite ancient has taken one down here or there. Some of the just ones off the top of my head, I know it was on Marianne Kelleher's 80th birthday. She won the tournament champions in Reno. And then Doug winning this one, and I believe he is 93. Like, don't quote me on that. Like I'm through guessing people's ages, but yeah, I'm not right. The youngest versus oldest of like those things is a heck of a thing. I think Doug had a playoff match with Kai Limrise, and I asked if that was maybe one of the biggest gaps there's ever been in like a 90 versus like Kai's like 30 something,
Yeah,
20
mid
so
30s maybe.
I don't know how old Kai is. I'm out of the game of guessing people's ages. It's just not something I'm really bad at it, but it's not something I do anyway. So
Yeah, just pulling up the page here. Doug that would have been his 37th win, and it breaks the tie with Mel Ashley. So he's in sole possession of 19th of all time, and that puts him just one behind Jim Crawford, another fantastic player.
yeah. Yeah, I saw Jim over the weekend. It seemed like everybody's there except for this one guy from South Carolina who I got a bunch of questions about. But
Well, and then the new one in the Central, the next one rather, will be Milwaukee.
yes, that came
So
out of the board meeting. Same venue that the one was, I think 6 years ago at the
2018.
Crown Point. Yeah, so which was a great venue, great Grand National. So congrats to Terry Weber on that. Congrats and condolences. A lot of work goes into these things.
Yeah.
Also like thumbs up to everybody involved with this one. I should have written down a list, but I probably start with Patrick and Linda Barrett and Dave Aiken, and I don't know, like just an endless list of people who are all helpful over the weekend. I don't want to like just start spouting names because I'm sure I miss people. So thank you to all the volunteers and everybody that was working on these things. Trying to think what else was going on. The banquet, I saw some pretty cool outfits. In particular, I know Bestie Wanda had like gear that people were talking about. Rick and Peggy Shea, I saw them walk through the casino, and they went big.
They did. I saw the
With
picture.
their get up. That maybe being that we have the video for this in the future, we should try to like have like a picture show of like certain things like this. So in the future, if people want to send us any photos you want us to like jump into, we can do that. The other thing that happened over the week is like I did some really cool sightseeing. If you've never been to Deadwood, there were some really awesome things. Like we went to Teddy Roosevelt State Park, National Park, I should say, in North Dakota. It's like I kind of slash another state off the list, and so we saw like bison, and we saw prairie dogs, and later I ended up seeing like a big herd of like mountain goats. There was like a video that I got of one of these bison, which was almost like 10 feet away. Like I was in a car and making sure to keep respectful distance and things like that. And this bison's just rubbing up against a bench, like trying to get that spot. You could see like, they looked happy. It's like, oh yeah, that's the one right there. It was so cool. Beautiful scenery around there. It's worth if for those listening who maybe decided to take a pass on this one, it's worth doing the April event that occurs up in Deadwood. You can still do all these same things, and the weather's still pretty like moderate. Just really, really neat stuff. And I found some more fun food things. We'll hit that before like Deadwood next year. So just cool all around. A very, very good time. Although I'm tired, not as tired as I was for the last podcast, which I don't even want to go through and listen to that one because I probably looked and sounded like a zombie. But yeah, a night's worth of sleep is a good thing. But a good time all around. I think I technically hit Grandmaster. I'm not one of those that like I don't seek a pat on the back on that stuff, but it was cool that like happened. So that was good. But yeah, just a blast. Sarah came along and was like just I don't know. She did all the sightseeing things. I think she brought back about 100 pounds worth of like rocks in our bags. Buying them from the general stores and this and that. You Rockhound guy, Terry? No, maybe not. Knowles, whatever it is.
But they'll make good Christmas presents.
Maybe we'll save this for a future draft. We'll do like souvenirs that you like. I'm writing that one down. We're like short on fantasy draft ideas, but that's not what we're doing today. Jump to the fantasy draft here. I'm trying to think. Anything else that you and I have talked about that I missed? Like I said, the board meeting was, the board meeting. Like, I forget if there was anything else of note that really occurred there. I know James Morrow will be president of the ACC for another term. There were some good productive things that occurred. If you are somebody that is interested in the inner workings of the ACC, the board meetings are open. You can like sit down and chill out and pop a squat and like see how the sausage is made. So I'll mention that for those who are ever like interested. But pretty chill. There were no fights that I saw the entire weekend. Most everybody was pretty happy. Like, bad beat stories abound. I'll have a few hands that we can talk about. Yeah, just a great time. Great time. All right, on to the fantasy draft. We decided to do sports movies for this one. As always, tradition unlike any other. It would be pretty open with what we count as a sports movie. So
if it has one scene in it.
well, yeah, I mean, to me, a sports movie is one where like the major plot is like about sports, right? Like I don't know, there are ones where it's like at the end there's a softball game or a baseball game or something like that. And some people call that. I would not call that a sports movie, but people do such things. Like remember like School Ties? Like I wouldn't call that a sports movie, but they have like football involved in it at some point, right?
I
Like,
did actually see that. Yeah.
right, but like would you call that a sports movie? Like to me that's not a sports movie.
Probably not. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I made my list, but I'm not going to like tell you how to make your list. So, right. Like as always, I can't find. I gotta find like the ye old like nickel. I want this nickel to be in like the Cribbage Hall of Fame one day. Like not me, but the nickel I feel like can belong in there, but I can't find it. So I don't know if you got a coin hanging. Oh, all right, there you go.
All right.
Who's calling it?
Changing it up this week? Or you
I'm gonna call it and change it up and call tails. So.
Okay. All right.
It
is heads.
It's heads. Okay. You want the first pick or you want the
I do because I have to have it. Okay. All right.
I have a feeling. I guess I bet I know which one this is. I would bet my life it is a baseball movie. But go on.
It is a baseball movie.
Okay.
Who stars in it? Oh, okay. You were only betting the genre. Never mind. Well, I thought you knew which exact movie.
I mean, you being a Red Sox guy, I was gonna think it involves perhaps Jimmy Fallon.
Oh no, that's not on my list.
No, going another route on that. Maybe Kevin Costner or something. I don't know. Go ahead. Don't leave me in suspense.
So, one of my favorite movies of all time, not my actual favorite. That's The Departed, which we've covered in previous drafts. But my favorite sports movie of all time is Moneyball.
Oh, okay.
And it stars Brad Pitt, Jonah Hill, which was so unique because he was always in unserious movies, comedy, super bad, all that. This was a very serious role that he took in the movie. And this was still Jonah Hill when he was, fairly heavy. So fairly early Jonah Hill. And basically they're the general manager and assistant general manager of the baseball team. All their stars left, so they had to rebuild the team using analytics and stuff with stats and all this, and they rebuilt it. And it was just a really cool movie. And I'm not a big Brad Pitt guy even, and nothing against him. I just find a lot of his stuff to be indifferent to what I'm into. But he was phenomenal in it, and I watch it when the baseball season ends, minimum twice a winter.
It's an excellent movie. It's for those who don't know, it's an adaptation of a book. And I remember when I was hearing they were making this movie, I thought, how in the world are you making a movie out of this book? And they did it, and it's entertaining and good. And like there's Hollywood license going on in this. They go on and on about how untrue it is to the actual elements of it. And there are a lot of people that are anti sports analytics that I feel like just don't understand. But yeah, it's a great pick, and I think it's one of my absolute favorite baseball movies. And it's just it's one of those. It's like it's done perfectly, right? It may not be the best movie, but they made the best version of that movie they can make.
And Bennett Miller directed it. I think have you mentioned him before?
I haven't. No, I don't even know if I know any Bennett Miller movies, but
okay. He's done at least one or two other notable ones. And the last thing I'd like to say about it was I was never into fantasy baseball until I watched that movie, and I've been doing it ever since, and I love it. Like when I'm trying to make a trade with another team, I'll have trade negotiations last all day. And we'll just kick around trade packages to try to make it work. And I don't know. I absolutely love it.
All right, good. I'll keep that in mind if you ever join the fantasy draft for cribbage and you don't want to trade some picks around. Just have deep negotiations with that. Okay, so you took Moneyball. All right, I'm going to take as my next two. Two back to back here. Moneyball was on my list. Wasn't like tip top of my list. You know what? It's the first one. It's like my have to have it. And again, it's one of these. It's not the best movie, but it's the best version of this movie. And to me, the best sports movies are super like quotable and they give you the feels. And I'm going with The Sandlot, and and it maybe like some of the old heads listening to this program have not seen The Sandlot or think it's a movie for like children. I think it came out in like the late '90s, which is when I was like a full blown teenager. It's just perfect, and it's so many of the elements of it stick with you. For those who don't know the plot, it's about a group of kids in a neighborhood who play in like a sand lot, and they go through a summer and the friendships and the things that occur with them. It's these kids like kind of growing up and going through the things they go through. So seen it, yeah,
Yeah. Oh, it's tons of times.
over and over, right?
I wore a shirt to a tournament, and unfortunately, it was one of those cheap ones in the mall where they make it in front of you. They like put the design on it,
Mm-hmm.
and so it lasted like 3 washes. But it said "Heroes get remembered and legends never die," and it had the
Yeah,
whole. It was like a group picture of all of them, but everything about that movie was awesome. And Dennis Leary had a small part in it, and the soundtrack to it, like it was just, I don't know,
just a perfect
like
movie, right?
it
And
was.
it's not, and it's the same story, right? The best movies are like they say there's only like 6 stories that are told, period. And they're all just like variations of it. But it's like they took what they had there and just made it so good. Was it James Earl Jones was in it? There's other people that are like
He
sprinkled
was.
throughout it. Just and if you haven't, go watch it. Just go watch it. Like you just be quoting like like forever and all these other things over and over. So all right. I'll keep this moving here. So the Sandlot, and I'm actually going to take another baseball movie as my second one, and that's going to be Major League, just a comedy from like the '80s. Charlie Sheen, Wesley Snipes, as like the same token story. It's a group of like misfits that somehow find a way to like win, and it just hits all the feels. Tom Berenger, I guess, is technically the lead within it. Corbin Burnson's in it, but there are so many roles, and I feel like they just hit it perfectly. Um, the music, the everything in that movie just kind of sticks with you as you move along.
Yeah, Charlie Sheen as well. It's yeah, it's a solid pick.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of those. It's if it's on, like I'll just get sucked in. It's one of those things I miss about having cable. Right, it's just flipping through the channels and you see something, and it's like I never would have selectively like chose to watch Major League, but if I flip through the channels and it's on, oh yeah, I'll watch it. Sure, like so. All right, you get 2 picks in a row here, Terry.
Yeah, so my next one is going to be Draft Day.
Oh no, oh no, Terry. Please tell me your microphone went out for a second. You're taking of all the Kevin Costner sports movies, Draft Day is the one you take?
I mean, Field of Dreams would be low hanging fruit for me, but yeah, I really like Draft Day, and perhaps it was kind of being paired up with Jennifer Garner. I thought was a nice combination. I really enjoyed the fact that Roger Goodell was in it as himself. A couple sports media personalities, one of whom I know you don't like. I won't mention any names, but it just felt kind of real. And I am a big Kevin Costner fan also. So, and I think that movie that was in 2014, it was kind of past his prime, which was the 80s throughout the 90s. So to, I don't know, to just to be that good in that role, I thought was cool. And he's since been on Yellowstone, which is like was all the rage for a while, so he kind of, had a nice comeback with that series. But yeah, I loved it.
I never watched that movie fully through because I am a draft fanatic. and that movie is so bad comes
Unrealistic.
to those elements. Like I'm a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, and
And he
he like fleeces the Jaguars because they have a rookie GM at the end of it. It's just so horribly bad the way it's done, and no, it's just we're gonna pretend like that didn't exist. Like you could add Bull Durham, you could add all these other things, but you take draft day. All right, that's fine. You pick your list doesn't have to be my list. I don't have to be mad about it. We can just move forward here. So go ahead, Terry. Pick another one to break my heart,
so
like tick me off.
no, I don't think so. I think this one will just be indifferent for you, but it's actually going to be a NASCAR related movie starring Tom Cruise. It's called Days of Thunder,
Oh, okay.
and was a big, probably one of my favorite childhood movies because got into NASCAR pretty young. My dad obviously was a big fan, and so I just thought it was cool. There was a movie about it, and it was probably the first Tom Cruise movie I ever saw. Maybe I saw Top Gun before that. I don't know, but it was one of the first ones, and um, it's got Michael Rooker in it, Robert Duvall, who I absolutely love. I've never seen a bad Robert Duvall movie.
Yep.
Um, and did I say Nicole Kidman? She's in it.
Didn't mention her, but I believe that's the movie where they like got together.
They
So,
did. Yeah, she was his. So he gets into a bad wreck, and so
well, I
part
mean,
of
in
the
like real
movie.
life, it's when they got
Oh,
together,
they
not within
did.
like the plot of the movie. But I
Gotcha.
believe
Well,
they
that
like fell for each other on the set of that movie.
they did.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
And just a really good movie if you're bored and you want to seek it out. I'm sure you would like it. They are in the early stages of making, or in the planning phase of doing a sequel to it. So I'm kind of excited to see what that looks like. I did not like the Top Gun sequel. I will say that. I mean, it was okay, but it doesn't touch the original. So I'm hoping the second Days of Thunder movie does.
There's again, it checks the boxes of like it's very quotable. The roles within it are super memorable. You mentioned like Michael Rooker, right? He's really even
Yeah,
like was it John C. Riley's in it as one of like the pit
he
guys.
was. Yeah,
Like some of these other guys.
Dennis Quaid. Yeah,
Yeah, Dennis Quaid as the team owner or whatever it is, and what Carrie Elwes was like the bad guy racer. That one might be the one that like I have a little trouble with. Like,
because
uh,
he's not usually the bad guy.
well, none of this, he's not a bad guy. It's just he's hard to him as like a NASCAR racer is a bit of a stretch. Like just in my book, I just have a hard time believing it. But that story supposedly because I worked on like an all NASCAR station for a little while is like the kind of the story of this guy Tim Richmond who was like a
Yes,
racer up on like the East Coast, and he kind of had a tragic ending to his life, not through like a racing thing, but yeah, super interesting. And that's a perfect like sports movie because is it a great movie? No, but is it a memorable movie and like enjoyable? Yeah, yeah. It's and to me that's what makes like a really good like sports movie. So
yeah.
all right, so I get my last two picks here. That's a good pick. You made up for your draft day blunder, if you will. Um, so all right, my next two. Shoot, you know what? Yeah, all right, I got my last two here. All right, I'm gonna take White Men Can't Jump as my third pick.
Oh,
Which,
nice.
for those who haven't seen it, it is a Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes uh, comedy, I would say. And it's just one of those, the first 15 minutes of that movie, it's kind of a hustle movie, if you will. The first 15 minutes of this movie is absolute perfection. It is it's like there, how there's certain movies, the first 10, 15 minutes is just the best part of the movie. This is one of those. Like they say Up is that way. Like you've seen the Pixar movie Up. Maybe not.
I haven't seen that one.
Okay, all right. There are just certain movies where the start of it is just perfection, and you might as well just like turn it off after that. But have you seen this movie at all? White Men Can Jump.
I have way back in the 90s.
Okay, yeah. I feel like it still stands up. It's a little goofy. It's again not supposed to be perfection, but the two of them play their roles fantastically. And I remember hearing stories about this movie, and that they said all the crew is like gambling and all the basketball shots as it's going on. They said like Woody Harrelson is actually kind of a decent athlete. And when they bring up Wesley Snipes, they say, well, he is a fantastic actor because apparently, I guess he is just like the most unathletic person like in the world. So it shows you how good of an actor he is that he looks like he's somebody that can play basketball.
You wouldn't think so, but yeah. And another movie I liked that they were both in, not sports related, was I think it was called Money Train.
Yeah, it was kind
And
of like they realized the two of them had chemistry, and so they put them in
yeah,
one movie. So yeah, that happens every once in a while where it's like, is it like Goodfellas in Casino or something like that, right? You find two actors, and it's like, all right, we can't like make a sequel to this, but we can just write another one.
yeah. And Will Ferrell and John C. Riley, another good example.
Yeah, exactly, right. They just keep doing that. And you know, what's funny is when you were talking about NASCAR, I thought you were gonna go that. Speaking of Will Ferrell,
Talladega Nights.
yeah, I think you're gonna that one's on my list, but I don't think I'm gonna take it here. But that is a good sports movie too. Okay,
Yeah.
well, again, if you haven't seen White Man Can't Jump, that one I would recommend. All right, my last one. Oh gosh, I'm between like three of them here. I'm just as I'm staring down at my list, does not make for like a great video performance here. Hmm. Yeah. Gosh, I almost want to like pass and let you have the next pick, but I need to just second up and do it. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Karate Kid, which is kind of a stretch being like a sports movie, but I feel like karate is a sport. Right?
It's fair, I
What
would
it is.
say.
But you talk about one of the more just memorable, quotable movies. You know, all the Mr. Miyagi stuff, like wax on, wax off.
Yeah.
Like to bring it back to cribbage, whenever I'm at the end of the game and I need a cut to go out, I'll do the Mr. Miyagi, like slap his hands together and like rub his hands. Um, and some people find it endearing, some people perhaps don't. But right, just again, a perfect movie in an imperfect world. Like they've made like 9 of them since, right? The Cobra Kai series, whatever it is, but uh, just the Karate Kid cannot do any better. Even just the end, right? Like get him a body bag and all that other stuff. Sweep the leg. It's so quotable. Probably seen the Karate Kid 50 times, but yeah, I have to have that one. So that'll be my last pick.
And my last pick, I might have taken this in another draft, but I have to include it in here. It's a boxing movie, and it's not Rocky. I think a lot of people might have, in a split second, thought it's going to that. It stars Russell Crowe, and it's called The Cinderella Man.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, it's about a guy named his name was James J. Braddock, and he was a journeyman um, heavyweight that was just kind of thrown into a title match where he was a massive underdog, probably not quite like Buster Douglas against Mike Tyson was. That was like 42-1 odds, literally. But it was just one of those cool movies. It was set in the early 1930s, which was during the Great Depression. That's kind of like an aspect of the movie. Renee Zellweger is in it and is phenomenal. Um, Paul Giamatti, who I'm kind of indifferent on, but I thought he was amazing in that
Oh, I
movie.
feel like he's great in everything. He's great. He's just one of those that actors, and you know he'll do some things where he'll be the lead in it. But I feel like he's just perfect in everything he's in. He's a that guy.
Yeah. So phenomenal. It doesn't get a lot of glory when sports movies are mentioned, and you don't see it on TV like on AMC or TBS that often. But and it's one that anybody would like. Like that movie is good for any audience.
Okay, I thought for sure with your kind of northeastern roots, you're going with the fighter there, like
Oh,
which
it's a good one, but yeah.
it's fine too. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen Cinderella Man, but I always heard good things about it. But yeah, all right. Other than we're just gonna like pretend that one selection you made never existed. So we're just gonna recap it here really quick here. So
We'll put
Terry's
the fighter
selections,
in there.
Terry's selections are no, you picked it. You gotta live with it. Yeah, our Moneyball, Draft Day, Days of Thunder, and Cinderella Man. I selected The Sandlot, Major League, White Men Can't Jump, and The Karate Kid. We already mentioned a couple that we kind of thought about taking. Like you mentioned Talladega Nights, and you already brought up Rocky. I thought about taking the Bad News Bears. That was one of the ones that I was like short on my list that I really thought about. What else? Tin Cup is a cute little golf movie,
Oh, that's phenomenal. Yeah.
right? Like that might be my favorite Kevin Costner like sports movie. Not the best one, but like the one that I will like watch often. But that's a cute little one.
It
Uh,
is, yeah.
I always say there are certain movies where it's like every time you watch it, you want the ending to change. It never does. That's one of them. But yeah, anything on your like others receiving votes list or honorable mention?
It wasn't good enough to make my list, but Any Given Sunday is a great, I can't remember if it was high school or college. I think it was high
It's
school
pro. It's
football.
pro. No, it's pro. It's
That
pro.
was
Like,
pro?
yeah, it's supposed to be like NFL. Yeah, there's one that's like quotable, like just the Al Pacino speech at the end of
Hey,
it.
that's what I was
Steaming
gonna
Willie
say.
Beeman. Yeah.
That's the best sports movie speech of all time.
Mhm.
When you fight for that inch. If you do that, if nothing else, just go to YouTube and look up that speech. And I love Al Pacino and so many other things. But yeah, and he doesn't really fit that role of he's a mobster in a lot of his movies. And so to suddenly be a football coach, but
I don't
yeah.
know. It's so over the top. It's like I don't know if it's a good bad movie or a bad good movie. But it's like it just pushes those buttons. Like it's just so much, Cameron Diaz being in that movie. But like Jamie Foxx kind of stole that movie in my book, and the Steamin' Willie Beeman like commercials and stuff. Those were fantastic. Yeah, those were really really good. Okay, all right, yeah. So if you had taken Any Given Sunday instead of Stinking Draft Day, I would have maybe not hated you by the end of this. But yeah, that one was on my list too. So well done on that one. Also, Jerry Maguire, right? Super like kind of cliche this and that, but it's a good sports movie. Like it's just like it's a romantic comedy, whatever it is, but just great. What is it? Cuba Gooding Jr. just kind of stealing that movie as Rod Tidwell. Like so good.
I'm embarrassed to say it, but I've never seen it, and I've heard nothing but good things about it.
It's fine. It's fine. Like you're not missing out on life having not seen it, but it's worth a watch. I don't know. It's just that's one of those. I'll give you crap for the stuff you haven't seen that I think you're missing out on life on, but I don't think that's one of them. Okay, let's jump to the mailbag. Thank you to all the contributors in the mailbag here. And again, cribbagepodcast@gmail.com. Would love to hear from anyone, everyone about what's been going on in your life. We got, I heard a fair amount of people, by the way, about the breakfast foods draft that we did last trip. Heard about it in person. A couple of the emails, Robert Milk checks in and says his favorite breakfast foods is shredded wheat, like the big biscuit, with a mug of coffee with milk and sugar poured over it. I feel like that's horrible. Like I can't imagine having like a more bland breakfast. But do you, Bob? Right on. He mentions a toasted Wonder Bread fluffernutter, which to me sounds more like a dessert. But again, do you? Mentions blueberry muffins, thick cut crispy bacon, and he says fluffy pancakes with butter and real natural maple syrup. And he sent some pictures too, and so now I'm hungry. So thanks for that, Bob. I'm back from this trip. I gotta like get back on my game. Like, do you do that on like these trips? You eventually fall off a little bit, eat some bad food, this and that.
Every trip, and I've been on a weight loss kick for a year and a half, and I'm at my lowest as of yesterday that I've ever been since 2011. But automatically I put on 5 or 6 pounds, and it takes me a week to get rid of it.
Yeah, same, right? Like I tried to be pretty good, although when you're in like South Dakota, it's like beef country, right? Like there were a couple times I saw like fish on a menu, and I'm like, wait, where's the nearest like body of water to here? Like, no,
Yeah,
it's
it's not
not a
very
lot of
fresh.
Atlantic salmon that's really great from there. Mike Delana checks in and mentions chocolate chip pancakes and double chocolate chip muffins, home fries, sausage links, and this is a great selection. He says leftovers from the night before. It doesn't matter what it was. It's breakfast.
I am not a leftover guy outside of pizza. I don't even want it.
Oh, I
No.
think that is an excellent choice from Mike there. I'm a big leftovers guy.
No.
But yeah. All right, more for me. Well, remember that next time we're out dining together. Like you can just hand me your doggy bag of whatever. Let me see what else. The other one has a hand. Stephen Dugas checks in and says, "Hey guys, another Grand National has come and gone. Terry, you were missed. He stopped in Chaska, Minnesota, and ran the GR9 for the Central area for the first time. Oh, I didn't know that was the first time ever. And Davey Vowles took first and the trophy. By the way, Davey Vowles, runner-up in the Grand National main. Like congrats to him on that.
Nice run. Yeah.
Yeah, he had a nice run. Was it Bob Bartosh and Haley Hintz also in the final four of it? So mentions a couple of shout outs. He says, thanks to the entire team of directors. And I agree on that. And he says, congrats to the East All-Stars for beating the Central. I think the score, by the way, I didn't mention the All-Star event yet. It was crazy close. It was like 136, 135, 134 or something like that. And I think the Central had the most wins, but the East had just that many more skunks to take down.
Oh, good job. I forgot to even check on that.
So yeah, he says, Doogie also says, was all set to switch to hashtag Team Jason when Terry failed to show up. But then Jason was my only loss after lunch on Saturday. So Terry, you're still my guy. So,
okay.
And then he says his highlight of the week, though, is Bestie Wanda. I got to hang out with her and her dad Mike and had a blast. So I agree. Like it was nice seeing Bestie Wanda and her dad Mike. That was it's just, it's just such a good energy, right, from so many people in that room. But I don't think anybody had better energy than like Bestie Wanda. Let me think what else. And Rick Montague checks in and says, I've always been hashtag Team Tinfoil Terry, but since I heard Jason, like myself, does not like eggs, he says it's a texture thing for him. I think it is for me too. It's like texture and smell. Thinking of changing to hashtag Team Terracin. We might disagree on many things, Terry, but I think Team Terracin might be a thing we can be aligned on is a hard no. Like I always say, get off the fence, but if you're gonna meld our names together, Terracin might be the worst way I could think you could possibly do it. Like find a way to work our last names in it or some other element of this, but Team Saracen's also. Anyway, to continue, Rick says, definitely a pancake and bacon man like Terry and a sausage and hash browns man like Jason. Hence the Team Terracin. Also a big advocate of Spam. Are you a Spam guy, Terry?
I don't like it.
I don't like ham, but I've had it in it's like a Hawaiian thing. They call it like musubi. I don't know if you know what that is. It looks like a big sushi roll.
Okay.
But I've had that before. It's okay, I guess. But anyway, he says, great show as always. So thank you, Rick, for the contributions there. All right. On to the hands as I try to not blow the technology element of a little podcast here. Look at that. I did it with no problems this time. So hopefully everybody can see these. Again, by the way, thank you to everybody for the contributors. And again, more hands, more like draft ideas, all these things. We'd certainly like reach out to us. Cribbage podcast @gmail.com. Okay. So the first one comes from Ted Panos. I hope I'm saying his last name right. Panos. But he sends this one. So for those without the video element of this, so you are first count in hole 57. Your opponent is dealing in hole 42, and you are dealt 2, 3, 10, Jack, Queen. I think we may have had like a similar hand to this before, but again, position, one hole can change everything of these. Terry, what are you seeing when you look at this one?
Well, we're a little out of position. We want to get to the 70 hole after this hand. So being only in the 57, it's, you could do it by throwing deuce 3 here and then cutting either a nickel or any face but a king. But I think I will kind of break it up a little bit here and throw 10 queen. You can cut a dozen, with the deuce 3 jack. A 5 gives you 10. An ace gives you at least, ace or a 4 gives you at least 9. If you have the right jack, it's 10. I just don't feel great about possibly being out of position after this hand and then loading their crib with the deuce 3. So that's my logic. So 10 queen to the crib.
Yeah, I agree with you on this one, Terry. If the scores were closer, then I think you could make an argument for it. And if the hand was slightly different, right? If it's not 2 jacks that I have there, if it's not the middle cards of this, then I think I might be more inclined to throw the 2, 3. But I think in this spot, you throw 10 queen, there are 2 jacks in your hand, so there's just that much less for your opponent to hit. I think it's just a safer route, 15-point lead, just kind of keep it together. Just out of curiosity, right? say this hand were just similar, instead of 2-3-10 Jack Jack Queen, if you had 2-3-10-10 Jack Queen, right? That's one where I might be more tempted to throw the 2-3 there.
Yeah, the Jack Queen is kind of a dangerous throw. I personally love throwing it to my own crib, but um, yeah, I don't know. To me, it's just if I was in the 60 hole, I would throw deuce three.
Mm-hmm.
Give me an extra 3 points, I would definitely do it. And I'm not afraid of it. I mean, there are scarier times to throw it, but I just feel like I've got the game in control here, and I'd probably just yeah, I'd keep
Okay.
the pair and the deuce three no matter what the scenario was.
Oh, no matter what the scenario is. See, no, I
In
disagree
in
with you.
in this hole, I
Oh, in
mean,
this hold, okay, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I
this
agree
hole.
with you there. If and again, if my opponent were a little closer, like this is again is 57-42. If it's say 57-47, I think I'm much more inclined to go for it and throw the 2-3. Right, like then my opponent is already in position. They're already past their kind of par hole, if you will. Like, and again, for those who don't know the positions, I recommend you pick up a copy of Play Winning Cribbage by Dylan Culvert. Like, get to know your spots, the critical position zones as they call it. But yeah, if they're already at say 47 in this spot, I'm much more inclined to hold the double run and just try to hit where I'm trying to get to by the end of it. So
Yeah, they'll be in position at that point no matter what, like you said. So
yeah, at that point you just kind of have to go. Okay, let's jump to the next one here. And here we go. This is one that 0-0. This is one I had. I think it was like game 2 of the con or something like that. So you're in hole 0. Your opponent is dealing in hole 0, and you are dealt 3-4-8-8-9-9. Terry, what do you see? Right, 0. The Dylan theory says when you are a non-dealer, you need to go. Right, doesn't matter what you throw, doesn't matter what gets paired, this and that. Like, try to take anything, do anything. To me, there are limits to that, and there is a difference between aggressive and crazy. But I feel like there's two very distinct roads to go here, and either of them you could call aggressive or crazy. What do you think?
yeah, I mean, y- absolutely. I mean, there's two ways to hold it here, and I think a lot of people would probably most average players would probably throw the 3-4, but I would throw the nines and hold the 6, probably lead the 8 to try to set up a 5 trap, but I'm not too worried about it here in the first hand of the game.
Okay, I'm not opposed to your mode of thinking, but tell me more here. Like, is just holding 6 versus holding 4? Like what are you like what? Give me more about your mode of think. Why you hold it this way?
Yeah, I mean, I want to hold the biggest hand possible here. I mean, you want to get to at least the 10 or 11 hole, but I just don't like throwing 3-4 to the crib and holding 8-8-9-9 and then totally missing, probably getting destroyed pegging, or I shouldn't say probably, but very possibly. And and then they could have a pretty good crib. I mean, if they throw deuce 3, they're looking at probably a dozen or so in the crib. So I just rather hold at least 6 and chuck the nines.
Does it any opponent? And I feel like I feel like I must, most people probably think I have like a wall of questions like sitting here that I ask Terry the same ones for everyone, and it's like the same answer I get every time. But like for me, part of this is opponent dependent, right? Like if I'm playing someone that I perceive to be, again on this show we try to say like kinder things, right? Like lesser experienced or somebody that I feel like doesn't maybe have a lot of swerve to their game that I feel like I can outplay from the out of the course of 121 holes. I try to, maybe hide from a little bit of risk. Versus if I'm playing a tip top player and I must have the game, I might be willing to go a little more risk heavy and try to smash a cut or something like that. But like say you're playing somebody you know is just like bad, bad, bad. Do you ever break this? Is there a way that you would, like 9-3 or something?
No, not in the first hand.
Okay. Okay. I asked because I wanted your answer. I got it. So, um, for the record, I in this spot I threw the 3-4 and I believe we cut a deuce. But again, results don't really like matter. But I think it was one of those where I follow this theorem that there's only X many times in a game that you get a chance to break a game, right? You get to break the game early, and I will hold those chances and take those chances. To me, 3-4-8-8 is not enough of a hand to risk throwing nines. And again, maybe I'm dead wrong here, but I don't like the way that hand pegs. I don't think there's much you can do about it. I don't like the 8-4-3 trap there, just because I feel like unless my opponent gives me a really big tell, like they throw super fast, and it's very clear they have faces and fives. And again, even like a medium level player is able to get out of that 5 trap, because they know enough to like lead the 5 in the second run or something like that, or play the 5 on my 8. I just even if I am going to hold 3-4-8-8 from there, unless I have a really, really big tail, I think I'm just trying to lead from one of my little cards. So I think I see this one a little differently from you, Terry.
Fair enough.
Okay, sounds good. All right, give us your opinion on this one. cribbagepodcast@gmail.com. Let's jump to another one here. All right, here's one I had, I believe, during the main event. So this is one of these you file under good problem to have. So there is a flush in here, folks. So it's your own crib. And we're going to give the total hand here first, and then we'll explain the flush element. So the hand is ace 6-6-7-8-8. And so with there being 2 pair on the board, you can probably figure it out, but we're still going to speak to it. So you can hold a flush of ace 6-7-8. So ace 6-6-7-8-8. And there is a possibility of holding a flush of ace 6-7-8. Again, you are dealing in hole 72. Your opponent is first count from hole 78. What do you like, Terry Cushman?
This is more interesting than it looks because, you're technically in position, but your opponent's in the 78 hole and you don't really want them, to reach the 90 hole or beyond. And I think a lot of people would hold the 24 shot without thinking very much, but I might actually hold the flush here. Ace, 6, 7, 8, all spades. And I like the ace to kind of navigate the pegging. I just don't want to get destroyed in the pegging. Maybe that could be an out card to steer away from trouble. And I feel like, you're both gonna, well, you'll be in a weird spot the next hand depending on where they end up. Like you might have to play an all-out defensive hand regardless. You'll have to be cautious with their crib, in other words. So I like the flush just for the navigation during the pegging, basically.
Yeah, I think that's the hold in this spot. You just gives you as many options as you can possibly have within the pegging. The only thing I don't love about that is throwing the 8-6 to your own crib, because it just seems unlikely there's a whole lot of cards that are going to help you there. So it's almost like you're guaranteeing yourself like a 2 or a 4 crib at the most. But you do have the versatility of, like, depending on what cuts and depending on what your opponent leads, you can do a few different things. Like say you cut like a great card here. Say you cut a 7, right, which is a 20, and you've got at least 5 in your crib. It's like, all right, cool. I don't even need to peg anything. Like this pegging can be 1-0, and I will be very, very happy. You just kind of stay away from whatever the heck your opponent does. Heck, if you hold the flush here and they lead an 8, you might just pop the ace out there just to get away from a hole there. So, yeah, I think I agree with you on that one. The flush, you ditch the 1 point to kind of go another route. So, all right, let's jump here. We got a bunch of them this week. I had a bunch from Grand National. All right. Here's one. I think this may have come up. No, okay. We have one later that shows up in the group chat. So this is kind of an in-game puzzle. And this kind of came up because I was like, I don't know what to do in spots like these. So you are dealing in hole 116. So you are 5 out and your opponent is 16 out. and you are dealt 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 9. So, right, you get anywhere near counting your hand, no matter which. I don't think there's a way you can hold this one without having at least 4 points plus the dealer go, right? How do you hold this to kind of, like, well, I guess first question is, are you trying to peg out? Or are you trying to just hold your opponent short? Like, what do you like to do in spots like this, Terry? And how would you navigate this?
I love to have a shot to peg out typically, but this is a very trappable hand, and those aren't the hands I want in that spot. But um, I would probably be careful here. I guess I would probably throw the eights here,
Okay. So you
and
would
keep.
hold 5, 6, 7, 9.
Yeah, and it affords me to possibly play a little bit of offense here because they are going to lead. But it also, having a 5 and a 9, perhaps I could steer away if the offense doesn't materialize, and then I have to get really fixated on defense. So the cut card will obviously play a factor into how you peg, the cut card versus what their lead card is, rather. But I like chucking the eights here.
Okay. Just because you just want, it's the biggest gapper. Like what do you mean by like just the eights there as a whole, right? I do agree, right? Like I feel like you have to throw either the eights or maybe even 8, 7 here, right? You just want as many options as possible. But like, so from 5 out in a spot like this, like if the dealers say 109 instead of 105, does it change anything for you? Like, are you more apt to try to peg out?
If I'm in the 109 hole instead of the
No, no,
116
no, no,
or a
no.
119.
If your opponent is in hole 109, if your opponent's 12 out instead of 16 out,
Okay, so if yeah, that's hard.
right? It's tight, right? Like I feel like
Yeah.
16 out, you kind of play it, and if they have 16, you just kind of tip your hat. Okay, good game, whatever it is, and if the right card leads, I don't know, like say you toss the eights and they lead a 6. Then you feel pretty good about playing your 9, and you almost like hope they pair your 9 because then you're getting out, right? Then you get the 7
Right.
for the 31. You kind of build these scenarios in as best you can. But like if they're a little closer, is there a way to hold this a little differently, or what are you trying to do? Like, is there a spot argument you made for holding like 5, 6, 7, 8, or get rid of the 5? I don't know. That's the tricky part of these things. And I will openly admit, I feel like in game sometimes is kind of my weak spot.
If they're in the 109 hole, I would probably at that point give myself the best chance to peg out.
Which is what, 5, 6, 7, 8?
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
I would hold.
So if they're 12 out and they lead a face card, let's say the cut's something neutral, like a 4, right? Like I feel like that's neutral. You don't have like a super big read on that either way. But they lead a face card. Do you play the 5 for 15, or do you play the 6 for 16 and kind of see what comes out next? If you're holding, say, 5, 6, 7, 8 there.
Honestly, I probably would play the 6 and just settle for the 31 in that exact spot if it looks like they missed.
Okay. Right. Fair enough. Okay. All right. Let's jump to another one here. By the way, I will tease this coming up here. I think it might be the last hand that I have. I have one that I feel very strong about that I got disagreement from Dwayne Toll and Voldemort on.
Oh, okay.
But I will take my L if I am wrong, but I don't think I am wrong. And it's not very often that you try to say people like Dwayne Toll or Voldemort are wrong. So that's a little tease for those listening, or maybe like tuning out a little bit. Oh, look at that. Here it is. I swear I didn't plan this. I thought this one would show up later. Okay. This is like this is where I am planting my flag. This is the Matheny, I will call this. I will own this one as it is. So you are first count in hole 99. Your opponent is dealing in hole 83, and you are dealt the hand 5, 6, 7, 7, 7, 9. Now I will give a caveat with this one. This is like middle of qualifying. So to me, I think skunk comes into play on this, but I've been told already that when Dwayne Toll talks, I listen and I try to consider it, and he's only won like 90 something more tournaments than I have. So it's not often I'm going to tell Dwayne Toll I don't think he's correct, but I have a very distinct way I think this one should be held. Terry Cushman, what do you think?
I'm torn. I mean, the two obvious choices to me, at least, are either 7-9 and just simply keeping a double run here, or you could throw the 5-9 and keep 6-7-7-7. And the only thing I don't love about that latter hand is I can get destroyed pegging. But you know what? I'm throwing the 7-9.
Okay. Well, I, perhaps you can sleep at night a little better because that you are on the side of sanity, which is Dwayne Toll and Voldemort.
Okay.
I'm firmly team 5-9 here, and let me at least explain my logic with this one is that the holding 6-7-7-7, right? Again, you are in hole 99, your opponent is dealing in hole 83. 5-9, first of all, you are far less giving the opportunity for a crib to blow up. It is really hard for a 5-9 crib to explode on you like a 7-9 crib can, right? I think those are the only two options, like 5-9 or 7-9 here. And 7-9 can go. That is the Rob stopper, as we call it, right?
Yeah.
But it works until it doesn't, and when it doesn't, it goes really, really wrong. And I just think with my opponent dealing in 83, I think if you throw 5-9, you are almost eliminating the chance of a massive crib and eliminating the chance of losing this game. And also, I think if you hold 6-7-7-7, I think that is your only opportunity to skunk this game. And if you hold 6-7-7-7 and you cut the magic 8, which is 4 cards out of 46, right? So you are giving yourself a 1 in 10.5 chance of pulling off a skunk in this one. That is the end of my TED talk. I feel very strongly about this one, but I will go down fighting if I am wrong. But I think that is the hold for this hand. Just take it for what it's worth.
Fair enough.
Okay. That's all. I should just end the show right now. Just like I disagree. That's so long and thanks for all the fish. I just think that you take losing also out of the equation, throwing 5-9 at this one. But you're right. I didn't think about maybe that's the other aspect of this. I didn't think about how you get smashed up in the pegging.
That was the tipping point for me. I really don't hate 5-9, and it's not something I'm particularly afraid of. If you throw a 5, a 9 is one of the ideal cards. Either an 8-9 or ace deuce to go with the 5. So it was just the pegging. I'm like, do I want to get destroyed pegging? Possibly still give them an 8-14 crib, and still not
Yeah,
be
but
out.
aren't you getting banged up in the crib and the pegging if you hold 5-6-7-7 and they have like the same cards that would hurt you?
I would
Right.
lead the 6 there and then try to dump the 5.
Right. I mean, if they take the 15, the 5 feels a little safer. But then on the second half, right? Like you're leading the 7, and then they play an 8, and then you're forced to play another 7, and then maybe they have a 9, right? And then you're giving up. Like then all of a sudden you've given up like 7-8 points in the pegging, like a whole hand there, right? Like you're gonna get banged up in the pegging the same way with 6-7-7-7. So just maybe I should give this an up. Again when Mr. Toll, as I call him, it's just like there's some people it's Mr. right? It's Mr. Toll, it's Mr. Langley. Mr. Langley says that is his father, and I'm supposed to call him Jim, but it just feels right. He is Mr. Langley, right? So sorry for that, Jim. Like James, Jim. I feel like there should be like a title, Sir Jim of Langley or something like that. If they tell you you're wrong, you should listen. So okay, all right, we'll move on. It's like therapy, this show, you guys. Okay, all right, here's another one that I think I'm dead wrong on. But so similar event. This is the midweek. You are first count in hole 70. Your opponent is dealing from hole 61. And you are dealt ace, 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 4, 8, 8.
No hesitation on this one. I'm throwing 4-8.
I think you're right. It's not what I did, but I think you're right. I was having visions of, right, just whiffing the cut and cutting a dirty face card and still only having 6 points and not really pegging anything, and then all of a sudden, right, dealing from 76, and you just don't feel so safe there. So I was like, just throw the eights. They work until they don't. And in this case, like, I didn't really give up a crib. Like, I think the cut was something weird. Like I don't, yeah, something like that. So it didn't really hurt me one way or the other. And I think it was like a 4 point crib. So I felt fine with the result. But again, like, method over results. And I think in this spot, I think 8-4 is probably the way to go. And then you just lead an ace, and generally you can navigate your way out of trouble on that one. So I think this is one that when I did it wrong. If you're at 67, do you throw the eights, Terry? If you are at hole 67.
No.
No? Really?
No.
Like Mr. Aggression? No?
I just don't like it there. If I was like, I need
64.
to be in the 80s to throw
64.
that.
64.
No.
What? I think if you're in hole 64 and your opponent is dealing a 61, then I think you have to, right?
If I was in hole 54, then I would consider it.
So even like 60, if you're in hole 60 and they're in hole 61, you don't do it?
That's
closer. Insanity.
It's closer.
No, you're just wrong. Like, I don't say that a lot on this program. Like, I do have to bring this up for the little sidetrackers. We talk about hands. It was like third hand of the main. I had the old 2, 3, 5, 6, 8, 9, and I almost took a picture of it, like, in play, just to send to you, but I did not, because I don't want to tip my hand to like whoever it is I was playing. But there's not many times on this show I say to you, you're wrong. But like, for that far back, yeah, you're wrong. Like, you're wrong, Terry. Like, just
from hole 60, you would throw the eights?
Yeah. Yes. I need 12. Like, I need 12 from hole 60.
It's close, but I would still I'd still throw 4-8.
I mean, you're talking about, you have 5 cuts to get to 12, right? It's 6 cuts technically if you count the A's, right? Like, right, the 9, the 10, the jack, the queen, the king, all get you 12 points there, and you desperately need 12 points. So you're talking 20 cuts that gets you 12 points, versus if you hold ace, 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 8, what? It's just the 6 and then that's it, right? Am I crazy? The 5, I guess, also like, gets you 12.
Yeah, I mean, part of it's this is going to sound contradictory, but part of it's my aggressive mindset. I feel like I can peg the difference, or whatever, in the remainder of the game. So I'm not afraid of being a little bit short here if I was in hole 60.
No, back to diplomatic Jason, back to like board member, like, like middle of the road Jason. Like, sometimes we see the world differently, and that's okay. I think, again, big hand theory, right? You have to, there are only so many times you have opportunities, and you must take advantage of these opportunities. And I think the further back you are, the more likely I am to hold the ace 4. However, in this spot, I do agree that when I threw the 8s in this spot, I regretted it. So, but again, sometimes, we all make mistakes, so it happens. All right, moving on. All right. Here's one. I don't think we did this on a previous episode. Again, the last episode, I'm a little fuzzy on, because I was not fully alive. I think I was still a little brain dead. But so this one, you were in hole 62. Your opponent is dealing in hole 71, and you have ace, ace, 2, 5, 7, 7.
Yeah, I hate this.
I wasn't thrilled. I wasn't thrilled when this one came about.
They're just too far forward. I would keep ace, 7, 7 here. And like I said a couple of hands ago, if you're going to throw a 5, a deuce is one of the 4 cards that's safest to throw with it.
Okay. This one, I'm with you. I think you just hold your nose and throw the 2, 5. And again, we're playing this game, and I feel like I swear I'm not setting you up to like be mad at you, but like, if you're in hole 66, do you consider breaking this?
I would break it at that point. Yeah, I'd probably keep. Let's see. I'd probably throw ace deuce from it. Keep ace 5, 7, 7.
Okay. I feel like if I'm going to break this one, I might throw a 7 and hold 1, 2, 5, 7. Right?
From
Like,
a 66. Yeah, I might do that actually. Yeah,
yeah,
because
everything
you're gonna
gets,
cut into 4 at least.
yeah, right. You might hit a cut to get you as many as 8 there. And I feel like you can navigate the pegging like reasonably safe from that spot.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think we have one last one here, and then we will sign off and send you good people on to the rest of your lives. This is another one of the flush hands. So you are dealing in hole 64. Your opponent is first count in hole 68. And you are dealt 5, 10, 10. You deal yourself, I should say. 5, 10, 10, queen, queen, king. So if you were to hold a flush, you would hold 5, 10, queen, king, and throw 10, queen. So those are kind of there's two very distinct roads to go from here. How do you like this one?
Yeah, I mean, without much hesitation here, I'm gonna throw the 2 10s. Just even though it's 2 points less, I just think with my hand in crib, there's potentially better overall value by throwing a pair to your crib. So I'd keep 5 queen queen king here.
Okay. For the record, I mean, it's the same either way, right? You're either holding 8 and 2 or 10 and 0.
True.
Right? So
Yeah.
you're not really breaking this, but it's more kind of how you like it. Um, I do agree. I think the pair is the throw here. Like you're still holding 8, you're throwing to the 2 of the crib. You have bingo cuts available, right? The 5 is certainly your number one bingo cut there. And I think the jack is kind of also a pretty fantastic. The kabangi, the bingo. I don't know if there's another term for it. What do they call it in the Northeast, right? Do you have a term for the cut that just smashes both?
Donna LaFleur taught me the bingo card concept, so I think that's probably what it is.
Okay. All right. Like I said, I think kabangi is a Midwest thing. I don't know if there's like a West Coast thing or another term for it, but yeah, I think that's the hold on this one. So, and I think that's all the hands. I'm gonna click another one, make sure nothing shows up. Nope, we're back to the original one. So, all right. Well, I hope anybody who hung out. By the way, I get so many kind things about the podcast. Like, thank you everyone who knows like what things. Also, I have to give this note from what happened is Adam Schweitzer saw me over the weekend, and he said that he and Ryan, I believe it's Huffman is the guy's is
Correct.
his last name. I want to make sure I don't blow that one. He said they were the Timu version of the podcast, and that they kind of looked similar to us. And especially Ryan, he's wearing like a baseball cap, and he kind of has similar glasses to how you wear glasses. And that one, I do feel like he says he just switches his hat to like a Red Sox hat and see how many more people call him Terry. Adam, if you people are calling you that you look like me, maybe like I don't know, get a little sun or something like that. Like shave down this and that. Again, I got the consolation stash running, which will hopefully not make its way to the next program because, as I mentioned many times before, I hate the way I look in a mustache. So just fair thought.
I think you pull it off. Everything looks put together. So
I mean, it's like if it's well kept, but I feel like I look like a cop. It's just not a good look for me.
I feel like if you have a relatively rounder face, mine's more of an oval face. So,
Mhm.
but rounder faces, I think, can pull off the mustache better.
I did once just to, and Sarah said it was like the horrible like horror movie thing was I shaved down to the pencil mustache like the John Waters once. Do you know what like a pencil mustache is?
Not by name, probably if I see it.
Yeah, if you Google, you can like find this, but it's like it's where you have hair and it's literally just on like the very, very, very I don't know,
Oh,
it's like the top of your upper lip only. John Waters is like a movie director who's kind of known for his pencil mustache. I'm sure there are some other like famous folks that have that, but yeah, I did that once, and she said it was a horror show. Like, and don't ever, ever, ever do that again. So I probably won't. So let's just maybe that's like an eventual wager in a cribbage bet or something like that. That's but yeah. Well, Terry, I will scold you no more about Grand National. Hopefully, you missed no more of these in the future.
I would say next 3 I'll be at.
Okay, yeah, I was about to say, can I get commitment for the next 3 from you? Which would be, of course, which would be Niagara Falls, followed by Spokane, and now Milwaukee, Wisconsin. You are officially locked in for all 3.
I
Assuming
would,
nothing silly happens.
and I'll even take a step further. I mean, probably 4, because the 4th one would be the east. So it's either going to be drivable or easily flyable. So
yeah, I was about to say, you're kind of in a spot where it's like there's not really a place in the east where you can't really get to without, too much trouble. I can't really imagine, like, Niagara Falls is kind of as tough as it is for you to get to. Maine, I don't know. What's the farthest, like, east region state that might be tough for you? I can't even think of one off the top of my head.
I mean, with Niagara, I think we'll have to rent cars, but that's fine.
It wasn't that bad. Like I said, I had one I did not end up with the minivan. I think that we kind of mentioned that on the last program, which was a plus. So
yeah.
So we had a good old time. All right. Well. All right. Again, please, everybody, submit fantasy draft ideas, especially with the seasonal things we have coming up, whether it's like Halloween costumes or I don't know, like around Thanksgiving, we'll have to do like Thanksgiving dinner table stuff. I don't know, just whatever it is y'all can think of. But again, cribbage related ones also to the forefront too. Like eventually we run out of like cribbage theme ideas. So please send those cribbagepodcast@gmail.com, or I guess you comment on, I don't know, any of these things like YouTube, Spotify, Apple. Like give us, 5 stars. Jason is great, and hashtag Team Terry is questionable with his draft. Like give us all. In all seriousness, like people say very nice things about the show, and I'm very, very thankful for that. But like, if people have feedback, I don't know, we want the show to be better, right? If somebody says something and we disagree with it, I'm still going to disagree with you, but I would love to hear anybody say, hey, you know what, this quality element, like I think you guys should do this a little something. So would love to hear it. All right. Well, without any further objections, again, it's like I feel like I'm confrontational today. Maybe I'm just a little like stressed with work or a little low on sleep after travel, but I'll try to take it a little more easy on you next week, Terry. So
I took abuse all week long from everyone via text, so it's
yeah.
fine.
Well, you show up and it won't be. Well, you'll probably still get abuse. It'll just be in person. So
yeah, that's fine.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. I hope everybody had a great time at Grand National, and hopefully we will be talking to you in the future. Thanks so much for listening.